We're talking about attendance, right? Attendance is your number one priority. There's sales, there's service, but without attendance, there's no service, there's no anything. Attendance is the smallest common denominator. So when you're teaching people, you could literally say to them, listen, I can't teach you martial arts. I know I promised you a bunch of stuff. I know you came here to derive some benefits, but I can't do it unless you attend. And you have to attend long enough and consistently enough and apply yourself in a way that allows the information to be learned through experience. So my first and most important job is to encourage and stay on top and cultivate your attendance. So more than teaching you any of the techniques that we require for testing, if I can't get you to attend regularly and commit to it, we're both going to fail at this thing that we've set out to do. So, as an instructor, you understand that there are things that happen that the students are engaged in that fit perfectly into their own learning curve. You couldn't tell them. You couldn't describe it. You couldn't paint a picture vivid enough or use enough descriptive language to impart what somebody learns when they commit themselves for a long enough time. You'll have to warn them, though, that, most of the big learning, the real big lessons, don't happen in any single lesson. They accumulate. It's like putting little grains of sand on the scale. At first it seems like nothing, but eventually the scale tips. So attendance and experience is what you sell. Now, that is if you're a good coach, and I think you're probably a good coach. Are you going to improve as a coach? Yeah, you're going to improve. But for now, you're as good as you can be, and we're working on improving. You have to remember this for you too, that you're dealing with me. And of course, I have a huge inflated sense of self-worth, but I think I'm a really, really good coach. But I can't do anything with you if you don't attend classes. And if you don't show up consistently enough and with the right attitude to actually have these experiences, to take what's being said and translate it into action. The same thing that applies to you and your school and your career and your enthusiasm about your career and your spark of creativity and your ability to transcend the mundane and become something extraordinary. It's all contingent upon your attendance and your participation, at least within the context of the work that I do. I'm this much of your team, but that much has to make a difference. One good solid punch placed in the right place, game over. You've got a lot of other techniques, but sometimes something simple, something basic can have a huge impact. And that's what the 100 is. That's what my consulting is. That's what having me on your team for cheap, really affordable, is supposed to bring. You give me 10 minutes a day, every day of the year. That's 60 hours in a year. I have 60 hours with which to light the fire of your creativity, to get you to think about the future, and to remind you of the most important things that you could and should be doing. You're the same person for your students, except you have more physical contact with them. You have more time to spend with them. Your impact should be greater. But all of these things that I could help you with, all of the things you could help your students with, they all go to hell without attendance. So consider yourself an attendance coach. And my dear coach, my dear friend, my client, my peer, my student, my teacher, you got to show up here to have it make a difference. And in turn, you have to tell your students, hey, you got to show up, because all of this is BS without attendance. Okay, did I get my message across? Do you have the reason to get on with me 10 minutes a day? I don't need to take over your life. You don't need to give me hours, but you give me a little bit of time every day. You keep attending, and I will have an impact, a positive one, maybe a life-changing one on the work you do. Okay, let's keep up the good work and show up.